Welcome to TwoQuestions.tv. With me today is Carew Papritz, and we're talking about dramatic book marketing. Welcome to TwoQuestions.tv. I'm Susan Baroncini-Moe. Joining me today is Carew Papritz. He's a literary advocate, author, and marketing expert. He's one of the most innovative authorpreneurs today compared to the likes of Elon Musk. With a background in Hollywood filmmaking, he understands the art of drama and showmanship. He's created numerous dynamic and attention-grabbing publicity stunts, which were whimsical, fun, and most importantly, effective. And today, because so many of our viewers and listeners are either current authors or wannabe, we're talking about marketing books. Hi, Carew. Welcome to the show.
Susan, it's great to be on the show. Thank you.
Well, all right. Our viewers and listeners may not have heard the word authorpreneur before. So could you define that for them?
Yeah. I actually hadn't heard it until a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't even know I was one. So we just combine author and entrepreneur, of course. And I think in the independent publishing fields, that's a real, what do you want to call it? A word that people are using more and more because you're getting such results from people, success from people independently publishing.
Yeah, the world's definitely changing.
Oh my gosh, by far. And also now that with the hybrid publishing going on, publishing, my biggest thing is you have to get above the noise. There's so much noise out there. And so to be an authorpreneur means you've really got to hustle and think outside the page. That's my thing. Got to think beyond the book and think beyond the words.
I think people think you write a book and now you're successful. Now you have business flowing through your door. Now you have money coming in all the time. That's not how it works.
You can't know. It's so wild because, I'm primarily, first and foremost, I'm a writer. I'm an author.
Yeah.
And I had written some years ago, had a number of bestsellers, a few bestsellers, not a number. In my early 20s, had great success, went away, came back into the game in social media era. And I thought writing my book, The Legacy Letters, that I could just bring it out, get my agent again, get on the road. And it wasn't the case. I was I was stunned that this wasn't the case anymore.
Yeah. So what do you think that most authors miss when they begin marketing their books today?
The first thing I really think about is pitching to the choir. By that is that a lot of authors, they write because they have something to say deep inside them, but they really don't think about their audience so much. They just have to get this thing out because it's the most important thing in the world. And that's passion. That's what you want, or any creative activity. But what happens is they think that everybody in the world wants to read their book. Right?
Yeah.
No. And it's so funny because people will come up to me and they'll say, "Oh, you want to listen to my book?" And granted, because I'm on both sides of the coin now, I said, "Sure, I'll listen to your book," and I can listen to it from a marketer standpoint and also as an author standpoint. But I find guys that are marketing their sci-fi espionage novel to a romance writing person, and I go, "Buddy, ain't happening."
No.
So, real big thing is to find your audience. That's what it means to pitch to the choir, of course. Your audience will love you for finding them. When you think about that, it's like they can't wait to find somebody new and a new fresh voice. So as soon as you can be found by them and get the exact, make that match made in heaven, they're gonna eat you up.
Yeah.
So of course, as one thing that I don't think people really understand, genre writers in fiction have it much easier, and nonfiction writers have it the easiest for being able to market in today's day and age.
And when do you think they should begin marketing their books?
Oh, good. You have to start. This is what I tell people. I say, you're writing your book, you have to start marketing.
That's right.
Before. That was not the case before. You wrote your book, you put your best effort into crafting this masterpiece, and then you brought it out, of course, because you had other people who were better at marketing than you. The biggest thing I find, the other one of the big problems I find is that authors live in the author's cave. We love the author's cave. Of course, that's where you're supposed to be. You're in there with your coffee mugs and sacred tchotchkes and all these things, and you've got your cat in the right position or your dog, and you have your special, coffee from wherever.
It's cozy, it's quiet.
Exactly. And you go in there and you create these universes. And I love the author's cave. And to come out into the glaring, bright world that your book has to come out into is a shock to the system. Tell beginning authors what they need to do to begin. They're the deer caught in the headlights. It's scary. So what I try to do is give them a very like a 1, 2, 3 short primer sheet of things that they need to do just to get started. Yeah.
That's a funny thing. I think, I've heard a lot of people talk over the years about how we dream. And, when you think about going to Hawaii, you imagine yourself on the beach and you're, drinking your Mai Tai or whatever, and it's beautiful and sunny. But what you don't think about is the process of getting there, where you pack your bags and you have to make sure everything's taken care of with your house, and then you drive to the airport, and then you get on the plane and you have to eat a plane food meal, and then you get to the place and you have to wait for your bags, and then maybe you take the bus or a taxi to your hotel, and then you unpack, and finally, hours and hours, maybe days later, you're on the beach with your Mai Tai. And I think it's the same with authors. You imagine yourself as a writer, you're doing writer things, you're being inspired, you're writing exercises, you're sitting in your nook, in your cave, whatever, and writing. And you don't think about the part where you're marketing the book.
No, not at all.
It's such a shame.
But think about it. The toughest thing in the world is to write a good book.
Yeah, but even if you write a good book, if you don't market it, it's not going to go anywhere.
That's true for nowadays. That's so true. And that's, I liken it to this. You write your book. It's like running a marathon. So you run this marathon, you get to the end, and the guy, you say, I'm crossing the finish line. And the guy goes, whoa, wait a second. You've actually got to go back. You go, I have to go back. And then actually the weirder thing that happens is you go back the other way, you get to the end, and the guy goes, sorry, I have to go back again. This is a nightmare. So you're right. Yeah. Authors are not prepared to market their books because that has not been part of the narrative of being an author for so long.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, okay, look. I am a marketer, so I get it. And I was before I wrote my book. So I knew what I was in for. But in my heart of hearts, I'm a writer and I want to be in my cave. Like, that's the life I would love to have. But I can't do that. And I think that's the part that is the struggle, is the disconnect between the narrative. Like, just like you're saying, there's this narrative of who you dream you get to be as a writer. And I do think that it's a profound loss that we don't get to have writers who are just writers. I think we lose something in that.
I do too. No, really well put. And there's writers that fight against that. And I totally understand that. I personally, when I came out of the writer's cave and thought, here's my book. And the funniest thing was, I'll tell you, I got rejected by about 25 agencies. It's your classic writer story. And I've had an agent in the past, and so I've been traditionally published, and I understand. Sure. So, but I came out and I got loving turndowns. I mean, we love your book and we love this, but it was like one small thing or the other, and I couldn't figure it out. And about the 25th, 30th, I don't know, whatever it was, you lose track. after a while. And I asked them, I says, all right, guys, let's cut to the chase. You know, what's going on here? And they said, he says, well, you're a nobody. And I said,
ouch.
I said, no. I said, really? Tell me the truth. Really? A nobody? He says, what do you mean? He says, you don't have a following. You don't have a platform. What are you talking about? You love the book. And I was stunned. Well, then I figured, well, okay, I'm going to make these words sing. And I believe in the words. And this book has won 5 national awards. It's the first book in publishing history to win awards in both fiction and nonfiction. Mm-hmm. It's a good book. It's a good, solid book. And so it does its work. But I'll tell you what, if it's a good, solid book to 100 people, that's not my job as an artist. I need to get it out there. I need to get it out to the world. And so that's where we're at.
Now you're going to come back on the show and talk about that book?
Oh, I would love to. Thank you.
All right, good. All right. So thank you for joining me today, Carew. Would you like to join me on the after show?
I would love to. Let's go.
Excellent. All right. Okay. Now, viewers, if you would like to join us on the after show, come with us. We're heading over to 2questions.tv. That's our URL. It's the only place you can see the after show. So if you want to watch it, come with us. We're going over there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.